Hey, 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 what is going on? Welcome to, honestly, the most selfish series in all of Laundromat YouTube here and LinkedIn and Facebook. Listen, this is a series where I go through a business book or a personal development book that I really love, that's really impacted me, and I am contextualizing it for laundromat owners in our laundromat industry. Mostly because I want to do this for myself to help me grow a better business. But also, hopefully, some of you guys get something out of this as well. So listen, this is what it's all about. I have got an eye on the chat. So if you join me live, feel free to drop your ideas, comments, suggestions, questions, any of that stuff in the chat. I'll keep an eye on all of that. Let me just make sure I can see it here. And I would love to dive into that. So today we're going to talk about Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And that was a revolutionary book for me when I first read it. So we're going to go through, pull out some core principles from this Start With Why book and contextualize them for the laundromat space. Again, this is mostly for me, super selfish series here, but here we are. We started the series off like a week or two ago with the book Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And this is the second one, Start With Why. Maybe we should have started with Start With Why, but I didn't. So here we are with the second rendition here. So welcome to all you guys who are here. Let's jump into it and talk about some of the core principles of the book Start With Why and how do we contextualize this for our businesses in the laundromat industry. Okay, so one of the key concepts from the book Start With Why is what Simon Sinek calls the golden circle. And it's the why, how, what progression, I guess. And I think one of the main points here is that we always start with what and then go to how, and then sometimes we make it to why. And what the principle of the golden circle is that we need to invert that. We actually need to start with why and then move to how and then to what. And I think that this still is something that's really hard to kind of keep in mind. But we'll go through what he means by these and try to bring some context to the laundromat industry with each one of these, and then we'll go on to the next principle. Okay, so let's talk about why, and what does he mean by why? What does he mean by start with why? And the why of what he's talking about is your core purpose. It's the emotional driver behind everything that you do. One thing that I talk about a lot with our consulting clients when they first onboard here is like, what's your goal here? Why are you doing this? And we try to push a little bit. A lot of times people are like just cash flow or tax advantage or we want to leave our 9-to-5 job. And we sort of push a little bit on that and say, okay, well, why do you want to leave your 9-to-5 job? And really what we're trying to get to is, what is the core driver behind all of this? Is it because you feel unhappy because your job is not fulfilling? Is it because you're trying to provide for your kids? You want to build a legacy for your family? Why is that cash flow important to you? And really getting to an emotional reason of why we want to get in this business or any business or investment that we get into, right? So it's really important to actually spend some time and figure that out for yourself. Spend some time and dig into, why do I want to explore owning a business or running a business? Why do I feel like I need cash flow? And try not to let the easy answers be the final answers, right? Try to ask why 3, 4, 5 times, and so you can get to that core emotional driver behind everything that you do. Okay, so let me give you an example of a why for a self-serve laundromat. Okay, something like, we exist to give busy families peace of mind, turning laundry day into a moment of community and care. Right? That's a pretty cool why. You're trying to help out these busy families, helping them to connect with each other and to care for each other. That's a pretty big why, right? And that is the beginning also of branding, right? Is this starting with why? And now you can start to build your brand around this emotional driver behind your business. Similarly, if you had like a pickup and delivery business, for example, maybe that's not exactly your same why, right? Maybe the why is to, free up, a family's least favorite chores so that they can spend more time doing the things they love with the people that they love, right? That's a strong why to get behind in the laundromat context, right? So spend some time and really dive into this why. And here's some action steps for you. I'm going to give you some action steps all along the way. If you've been around, you know that something that's super important to me, something I fully believe in, is that this, learning things online, going to a podcast episode, watching YouTube videos, all this stuff is really great to get a base of knowledge, but it's the actions that you take that will lead you to the goals that you seek. Okay, so here's some action steps. I got a couple of them for you in this why inner circle of the golden circle here. So number one, facilitate a why workshop. So if you've got a team, or maybe it's just you, or maybe it's you and a spouse, or you and a partner, gather your team or take some time on your own for an hour and do a 1 hour session. Ask, why do we get up in the morning? Why should customers care about what we're doing? What's driving us? And like I said, don't settle for the easy, like, well, I just want some cash flow, or I just need to, harvest some tax benefits, or whatever it is, right? Try to get down to that emotional driver. And then action step number 2 is, once you take that hour session and really sort of dive into what's behind your desire to run your business, or your business that you already are running, put it down in a statement. Draft your why statement. Keep it one sentence. Make sure it taps into emotions, and make sure it's timeless. This is something that, for me, I have leaned back on it when business has been tough. Business has ups and downs, and I've really leaned back on this why driver of, why am I even doing this? Why am I putting up with this? Why am I putting forth this extra money, time, effort, pain, and joy, right? Why are we doing that? Okay, so the inner circle starts with the why in the middle, and it goes out to the how. Okay, once you figure out your why, now's time to start thinking about how we're going to do it. And here's what he means by how. It's the principles and processes that bring your why to life. Okay, so let me just give you one of the example again of the why. We exist to give busy families peace of mind, turning laundry day into a moment of community and care, right? How do we do that? We treat every load like it's a part of our own family's laundry, okay? That is the how. That's the implementation of that why for that specific laundromat that has that why, right? And for you is how, and that might include, your business model. That might include, the things that are important to you, right? And this how bucket sort of contains your values, right? And the values are just the filter that you make decisions through in your business to create a culture both for your staff and your employees. All right, so here's your action steps for the how. We've got a why. We spent an hour kind of coming up with our emotive, clear, one sentence why. Action step for the how is define 3 to 4 core values, right? Some examples are, cleanliness with care, speed without sacrifice, community connection, right? These are some things that you can establish as your core values. What are the things that separate us because they matter to us? And not only is that going to help you carve your path on how you operate your business, but it's actually going to attract customers that care about the same things that you care about. Okay, so once you've defined these 3 or 4 values, action 2, document your service standards, from greeting every customer within 30 seconds to offering free coffee, whatever ways you can embody those values through your laundromat. If you can do that, that is going to be a huge defining thing. And you might have heard, like, on the podcast or on Dave Menz's podcast, or, some of the other channels like Lead with Value, Price with Value. This is part of what we're talking about here, is the things that you do because of the things that you value, right? Okay, so if we've got the why, we've got the how. Now, the outer circle of this golden circle, why, how, what, is the tangible products and services that you offer. For example, wash, dry, fold, self-serve, pickup and delivery, subscription model. That is the what you're actually offering. So, if you already own laundromats or a laundromat or laundromats, right, and you've gone through this and you've figured out your why and you determined your values, you can now audit your offerings, list all the services that you offer, and next to each, note how it reflects your why and your how. And if it doesn't, then you need to consider whether you either need to tweak it so that it does align with your why and how, or you might need to just cut that service if it's not aligning with the things that are important to you and your company. Right? So you might either need to eliminate or pivot anything that's not aligning. Okay, so that's the golden circle principle. We start with why, contextualized for laundromats. Let's talk about the second principle we pulled out of this start with why. This was revolutionary. Like, for me, this changed the game for me when it comes to running a business. This concept. People buy why you do it, not what you do. I hear a lot of owners basically saying that laundry is a commodity, right? Which means a commodity is anybody can do it, and there's no way to distinguish yourself, really. But Simon Sinek and I would both argue that that's not the case for laundry, and people do buy why you do what you do, not what you do. So here's the thing, right? In our business, customers don't just want clean clothes. They want to belong to something that resonates emotionally, right? Again, I talk a lot about how we can be a connection to the community. That's that why you do it. People buy why you do it, not just what you do. So a laundromat, for example, that stands with building community will attract families, seniors, local clubs looking for more than just machines, right? It's going to attract people who value the same thing that you value as a business, that community, right? So here's some action steps for you in this. People buy why you do it, not what you do. Number one is tell your story. Do it on signage, make social media posts, and share why you open the laundromat. Share that why, share the how, the values, and share how those values play out within your business. That will resonate with people. That will stand out online. That will stand out within your community, and that will distinguish you from your competitors. Even competitors that maybe are bigger and nicer and newer, you can still stand out and have a great business that way. So action step 2, this is similar, right? Like, embed your why in your marketing. Replace the feature-driven ads like, hey, wash and fold is $1.50 a pound, or, half price on this day, or whatever, with purpose-driven messages. $1.50 a pound and 10 cents goes towards a community scholarship, right? Or 10 cents goes to local schools. Replace the, features with that why and aligning your values. And if you can align your values, again, with the community, they're going to get behind that and support you. I see a question coming in. Hold on. It's like covered up on my end here. Okay. How or what ways does someone know if a good clean laundromat is needed in your area? I mean, I'll just say a good clean laundromat is needed in every area. But really, I mean, listen, this is about getting to know yourself and getting to know your community, right? And asking yourself, hey, what's important to me? And, businesses, especially small businesses, are reflections of the owners a lot of times. So this is about you saying, hey, what's important to me? And then also taking a look at your community and saying, what's important to our community here? What are the things that matter here? If you're in a lower socioeconomic, area, there might be some other nonprofits that you can kind of peek at and see what their values are and see if that aligns with how you want to run your business, right? And borrow their values, borrow their why there. But listen, every community needs clean laundromat in the area. Now, whether it needs another clean laundromat, that's another question, right? If there's already laundromats there, that are clean and running a good business. Then you've got to start doing some demographics. You probably need to start doing some traffic studies, stuff like that. That's some stuff that we've got a lot of stuff on the podcast and on the YouTube channel here that can help you with that. And then obviously we have a team that can help you with that as well. Yeah, you want to come in and create something new the community will love. So that's a situation where I think that is an awesome vision. That's an awesome idea. And to get practical on that, you've got to determine, is there enough business to actually bring that vision to life in your specific area? So, head over to laundromatresource.com and go to the, /coaching, or go to the consulting page there. And there's a free strategy session. We could jump on a call and talk about that vision and see what it would take to make that happen if you want to chat about that. Okay. Awesome question. And listen, let me know if there's anything else I can do to support you on that, because that's a cool vision. All right. So principle number 3 that I pulled out of this book is the law of diffusion of innovation. And here's what that means. To achieve mass adoption, you must first win over the early adopters, the people who believe your why from day one. Now, this is really easy to see when it comes to like new technology. It's really easy to see, when it comes to like a new product, but a laundromat, this is a little more difficult. But this does hit on what Rayleigh was saying here too, of a new location, right? So here's how we contextualize it for us. Is we need to identify our innovators who will help us spread the word, right? And for us, we're local businesses. By and large, we're local businesses. So, these sort of early adopters, these influencers who are going to help influence the masses, these might be people like local bloggers, people who are blogging about your local communities. This might be, people on the PTA at local schools. This might be mom Facebook groups, right? This is people in your community who can help you spread the word, especially when you're clear on your why and if that why resonates with what that community is all about. Okay, so here's a couple, just kind of fun action steps that you can take to try to, get an in with these people who have influence within the community. You could host a sneak peek event, right? Even if you're already open, if you're in the process of, clarifying your why and your values and making those known within the community, if you haven't done that yet, host a sneak peek event. Invite 10 to 15 community members. Like I said, maybe a local blogger or two, maybe some PTA members, maybe some city council or what's the commerce, I keep wanting to say City of Commerce, but that's a city in LA. Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, thank you. Chamber of Commerce there. These people who are running mom Facebook groups, those kinds of things, invite them over for a free wash and fold trial and ask them for honest feedback. Give them a taste of what you've got going on. Make an event out of it, make it fun, make it engaging, and get some honest feedback from them on how you can improve and what would make them share your service with their communities, right? And then another great thing that you could do, especially if you have a drop-off or pick-up and delivery, is create a referral program, right? So a lot of times, these early adopters, these people who are going to resonate with your why, with your vision, if you can incentivize them to spread the word, a lot of times these people have influence over similar-minded people that can help you bring in new customers. So really, this is about finding the people who are influential with your customer base, right? And sort of a core premise of this, which we didn't really talk about, is you need to know who your customer avatar is or who your ideal customer is. That way you can identify, okay, who's influencing that target group of people in my community. Okay. Here is principle number 4, which is huge, right? So we want to talk about the formula for trust, right? If you can build trust in the community, listen, you're never going to go out of business. Okay, you're never going to go out of business if you can build trust in the community. So here is what he says. You need clarity plus discipline plus consistency, and that equals trust. Okay. So clarity, this is on your why. Like, be crystal clear on your why. And like I said before, like, and as he mentions in his book, right? Share your why, share your values, be crystal clear on why you're doing what you're doing, what the deeper meaning and deeper purpose behind what you're doing is. And, think about the things that move you in times that you've wanted to support other people, other businesses, other causes. There's always an emotional time. Maybe it's, to fight cancer. Maybe it's to, support someone in need. Maybe it's to rally around, the homeless. Think about these deeper reasons behind and share those, right? That starts to build trust. Then you got to have discipline, right? Of sticking to the processes, your how, which is your how, right? So you're crystal clear on your why. Then you got to stick to your processes on your how, those values. You got to continue to manifest those values as you do what you do. And then you got to do it consistently over, deliver that same experience every time. Your what, right? So be clear on your why, stick to your how, the processes of your how, and deliver the same experience every time. Your what, right? And that will build trust within your community. Again, I can guarantee that if you can do those things, you will build trust in your community. And if you build trust and you're trusted in your community, you will never hurt in your business. You will always have business. All right? So let's talk about some actions on how you can actually implement this formula in your laundromat business. Okay, so number one, weekly huddles, 15-minute team check-ins to reinforce the why and review the wins and challenges, right? Keep everybody on the same page. Make sure everybody is reminded of why they're doing what they're doing, how they should be doing it, and what exactly it is that they should be doing. Okay, number two is have some sort of standard operating procedures. Write down every key process, machine maintenance, customer greeting, folding technique, whatever things you have your employees doing, have some standard operating procedures so that people can reference it. Your employees can reference it as you go and build your business. And, here's one that I don't hear anybody doing in our industry, but it's definitely a popular method in other industries, specifically in retail. That's doing almost like a mystery shopper type thing, right? So once a month, send someone in to audit the consistency and share the results with the team. Send in a mystery shopper. Send in someone who's your ideal client who doesn't normally come. Tell them what you're looking for and how your team should be behaving, and have them evaluate it for you. Okay? All right, principle number 5. I've got 2 more for you in this Start With Why. Again, this book has been crazy influential in me and how I'm running my business, but also in my life vision as well. And that brings us sort of to this 5th principle here of aligning your business and your life purpose, right? Don't try to separate out what you're doing with your business with what you're doing with your life. When your personal why and your business whys are in sync, work becomes meaningful, energy flows, and much less likely to burn out when your life why and your business why are in sync. Okay, so, if your why, for example, is building community for families, that should guide both your 60-hour-a-week work weeks and your weekend family time, right? The time you spend on your business and the time you spend on your personal time with your family, your friends, your community, right? Value building community time for families in your business and in your own life, right? So here's some action steps, a couple action steps for you. Number 1, here's a personal business alignment exercise, right? Write down your top 3 life goals. For example, maybe it's more family time, maybe it's financial freedom, maybe it's travel more, maybe, whatever it is, your top 3 life goals. And next to each one, note how operating your laundromat with purpose moves you closer to those 3 life goals. And here's like a hot take for you. If your laundromat is not moving you closer to your life goals, maybe you should start to get rid of your laundromats. go find another vehicle. Listen, I'm all about laundromats. I think laundromats can help you achieve your life goals. I think laundromats can help you build the life that you want to build. But they're just a vehicle. It's just one of many different vehicles to help you build the life that you want. So if you go through those life goal exercise and you realize laundromats actually don't help you achieve your 3 main life goals, or maybe 1 or 2 of your life goals, but not the others, maybe you need to look at some other vehicles. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that too. But hopefully you're going to see that laundromats help move you closer to those life goals. And if they don't, maybe there's a way that you could do the business differently that would help you move that way. Okay? And here's the one that's key. This one is key. Action step number 2 is time block for why activities. Okay? Reserve an hour a week for community outreach, like school drives, charity laundry days, connecting with the community. This is going to fuel both your whys for your business and your personal fulfillment. You're going to get a lot of fulfillment doing this. So time block that, put it in your calendar, make that time sacred. And listen, it's going to give you more energy. It reminds me of a book I used to read to my kids. I can't even remember exactly what it's called, but it's maybe The Bucket Dipper, The Bucket Filler. And it was all about, people trying to make themselves feel good by putting other kids down. And the book basically says, hey, the way to make yourself feel better, the way to align your business goals and your life goals, the way to have more energy in your life is to actually give to others, right? So we need to prioritize that in our lives as business owners or just as human beings, because it actually benefits us a lot to prioritize doing something good for other people. Okay? So let me give you principle 6, the 30-day start with why kickoff plan. Here we go. If you really want to get into it, week number 1, your focus will be discovering your why. Okay? Your 30-day start with why kickoff plan. Week number 1, discover your why. That's your focus. And your tasks are, number 1, host a why workshop and start to put down on paper, action number 2, what your 1-sentence emotion-driven why is for yourself and for your business. And involve your team with it if you have a team, or your partners, or your spouse, whoever's helping you run the business if there is anybody. Or if not, take some time this week, go off to the woods or the beach or a park or a quiet place, a library, and do some work with yourself and discover your why. Okay? Week number 2, define your how. So your action steps for this one are list your core values and processes. And then number 2, create simple standard operating procedures for each of these values, right? Create some ways, build in alignment with those values in what you do as the owner and in what your employees do as a part of that business. Okay, week number 3, your focus is aligning your what. Okay, we've got your why, week 1, your how, week 2, and week 3, align your what. Here's your 2 main takeaways for that, your tasks for aligning your what. Number 1, audit your services versus your why and your how. Okay, make sure that those are aligned. And then number 2, adjust your offerings and pricing to reflect that purpose. That might mean for some of you, you need to charge less. That might mean for others of you, you might need to charge more so that you can do more, right? That might mean you have to give up one part of the business because it's not aligned with your why and your how. Or that might mean you need to add part of your business because it will align better with your why and your how. Okay, week number 4, your focus is to communicate and embed. So week number 4, updating signage, updating websites, beginning to create social media content that communicate that why and that how to your employees and to your customers and to yourself. This is something you got to remind yourself to keep that vision in the forefront so that you can lead your team and lead your community. Okay, and then action step number 2 is train your team on why-driven talking points. Help them communicate these deeper purpose is behind why your business exists and why you're doing what you're doing. Help them communicate that with customers and embed that into the language. You think of, Chick-fil-A is like a classic example, right, of embedding language that communicates their values, right? They want to be very respectful and polite, so they say, my pleasure, right? Think of how you can help your employees communicate those points to the customers that come into the store. Verbally, yes, but also just through their actions, right? And I'll just say, this is your kickoff plan. That's step number 4 of communicating and embedding. It is an ongoing process, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, for yourself and for your employees. Okay? So here's why I think all of this matters for us laundromat owners. The Start With Why book and the principles in it, here's why I think that it matters. So number 1, it will lead to stronger customer loyalty. When people believe in your purpose the same way that you do, they come back and they bring friends who also care about that. So it will create stronger customer loyalty by having these clearly defined whys, these values that are communicated and lived out in your business, and the services that align with those in your what. Okay? Here's another reason it matters. Number 2 is your team is going to be much more engaged. Employees who understand the why are more motivated. They're going to stay longer, and they're going to deliver better service because they're going to believe in this why, in this mission that you have as much as you, and they're going to get behind that. And it's going to energize them, and it's going to keep them motivated to continue to live out the why and the how in their job. They're going to love their job, right? Okay, and then number 3, this one's selfish, but this is fulfillment for you as the owner. Running a laundromat becomes so much more fun. It becomes a vehicle for positive impact, not just cleaning clothes, not just doing laundry, not just a chore, which is what laundry is to most people, right? Just a chore. But you can turn that chore into something much more meaningful. And I will just tell you from my experience that is going to impact you. It's going to fulfill you in ways that it never could if you aren't clear about that why, if you don't talk about how you're going to live out that why through the values that you have for yourself and your business, and that what you do doesn't align with both that why and that how. So starting with why, you're going to transform your laundromat from this commodity chore center into a purpose-driven hub that fuels both business growth and personal satisfaction. That is the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek, contextualized for laundromats. I hope you got something out of this, but even if you didn't, I'm telling you, this is the most selfish laundromat series in all of YouTube, and I mostly just did it for me. So I got something great out of this. It's a really cool exercise for me. Look forward to the next book. There's no schedule for these. It's just kind of whenever I feel like putting one together and then jumping on live. So make sure if you're on YouTube, you're subscribed and you've got that notification bell hit. That way you know when we go live and you can jump on the next one. All right. Go out there and take some action. That's what it's all about, right? Determine your why and then get out there and take some action. Peace.